This is actually a challenge for Xerox today because we are so well known, but we're so well known for something that is, part of today, but a huge part of the past, and unclear its role in the future. First, I think it's very difficult to lose the past. You build on it because it doesn't go away; it's there. But when you try to build on it, you have to be clear that you're building on top of what it is your customers think of you, and then expand from that point. Because if you try to ignore the past and build entirely new, that's a much more difficult dynamic. And the second thing I'd say is that you can't just tell people you're different. You have to actually be different. So as you're trying to expand the understanding of who you are, you actually have to expand what you're doing so that the customer sees you in a different light and sees has interactions with you that highlight that expanded relationship, or else they'll never get it. You can tell them it over and over and over again, but if they don't actually see it in their personal experience, it won't resonate. So we have a very big operation in Asia. We operate through a joint venture that's called Fuji Xerox, because it's a joint venture with Fujifilm. If you think of it in terms of Xerox brand, position, and scale, well, the US is about 40%, Asia is probably about 40%, and then Europe is 20 to 30%, somewhere around that. So it's already a huge part now of our business. I think what we're trying to do with it is there are certain parts, particularly China and the emerging Southeast Asia and India to a degree, that are much more cost sensitive and less willing to pay for kind of the high end of the sophistication and capability. They would definitely go for lower cost, simpler solutions, and we think that is a capability that could have much more value outside of Asia, and so we're trying to learn how to create that solution set that's optimized, if you will, for Asia, but then expand it to be leveraged more broadly across the world. The United States, and to probably a large degree Western Europe, the more developed countries, are confronting a world where growth is dramatically slower this decade than it's been in past decades. And so, and at the same time, the competition on cost from new entrants who are outside the developed worlds is extreme. And so there's this pressure both on the top line and the bottom line that large established Western companies are dealing with. Whereas if you look at the developing world, or Asia, because broadly defined Asia is still a very young developing markets, with the exception of Japan and Australia, which are kind of the bookends of Asia. But the rest of Asia, there's just this spirit of attack where the opportunities are great, and they seem to have enough of the recipe working for them that it's just a much more vibrant and proactive spirit. And they're not dealing with the fact that growth seems to be limited or that they're being attacked on a cost base which is uncompetitive.